So in this video I'm going to go over the thought process and rationale that we go through when building up to a heavy back squat. In this particular session it was a heavy back squat triple with 2 drop sets at 90% of whatever you achieve on the triple. So first of all, you can see here I'm going through just some movement mechanics work. Personally for me, I need to create a little bit more length in my adductors. So you can see that I did a stretch there on the treadmill, and then going straight into a similar type stretch but with a bit more dynamic movement to make sure that the adductors are functioning at length as well. And I'll follow that up with some rotating lunges just to get a little bit more working length through the muscle. Jack is going to do some very similar moves, but Jack's goal is actually to increase his stability around the hips, as not so much increasing mobility like I am. So we get to the empty bar, and when we're on the empty bar sets, we probably do 2 or 3 sets with the empty bar, and it's just to get a feel for the squats, get used to the bar being on the back, and then in between sets just going through a little bit more movement mechanics just to make sure that each set we do the squats feel a little bit more comfortable. We'll hit different positions. You'll see Jack there, a few pauses, different positions, just trying to open up the hips, make sure everything's switched on before we increase the weight. First weighted set we did is at 60 kilos now. We're just making sure that we're still feeling good from going from the empty bar. The positions are still feeling nice in the legs and in the hips. We're trying to get good range of motion and good speed out of the reps. And again, it's just more about this first weighted set. It's more about getting that CNS system fired up and ready to go. We'll spend at least 2 sets on 60 kilos, and maybe even go for the 3rd set if we feel like we need a little bit of extra work on opening up any positions, or just playing around a little bit just to get the core body temperature warmed up, and psychologically just get ourselves ready for a big squat session. You'll see Jack here is playing around with different squat stances. He's got a narrow one there. That's more for range of motion there in his calves, and also glute activation. It's a bit more glute. You get a bit more glute activation with a narrow stance, and then just playing around with wider stances and different foot positions as well. And the whole goal of this first set is just making sure the legs are ready. They're ready for heavier weight, and they're ready for quite a few reps coming up across the session. 60 kilos. We've moved up to 100 now, and we'll do 2 to 3 sets usually at 100 kilos. This is around about 40 to 50% of 1 RM, and it's just, these are kind of like the final sets of warm-ups, the final build-up sets, and from this point in we make the decision that right now we're going to build up to the heavy set. You see there, my squats, they're kind of borderline on depth. I'm just making sure I go down to the point of most tension before driving up out of the squat. As the weight gets a little bit heavier, we'll get a bit lower, and we'll do some sets that are purposely a little bit lower just to make sure all ranges of motion are warm and ready to go. You'll see actually in this set, this is the 2nd set of 3. This is where I mix up the type of squat. So we had a fast rep, and then we're going to go into a deep rep, really hit the range of motion that I'm probably going to be getting to at the heavier sets, and then a slow rep to finish, just to get the body ready for those grindy reps as they come at the top end. So at this point we've made a decision. We've gone from 100 to 130, and we're down into singles straight away. We're already warm. We've done probably 2 to 3 sets on 60, 2 sets on 100, plenty of barbell work, plenty of movement mechanics. So we're just going singles from here now. We're warm, the body temperature's up, we're moving well, and we feel like we're ready to go. We don't need to waste too much energy in this middle section from kind of like 50% up until 80%. We're just getting singles in, getting used to the increments, and then we're just building to our target weight. So straight from 130 to 150. And it's important now at this part, as we're just getting the reps in, that we get used to our routine when we get to the bar. Hands going in the same position each time. The step out of the rack is solid. 2 steps, 1 step with one leg, 1 step with the other, then we're set and ready to go. And it's a really important little routine to get used to when we get into those heavier reps. Okay, you want to be drilling that same routine as you approach the bar each time. Again, we're just getting good reps in here, making sure we're building a bit of confidence for the higher weights that we're aiming towards over the next few sets. So we did do another rep. We haven't gone from 150 to 170 here, don't worry. We did do a rep at 160, straight into 170 here. This is my last single before the weight that I've decided is going to be my first heavy set of 3, which is going to be 180 on the next clip. And Jack has decided that he's going to hit this as his heavy triple. Just based off how we've squatted over recent sessions, my confidence was feeling good, knew that I had 180 for the 3. Jack hadn't had too many squat sessions in, so we're just taking the session as it came. So you'll see this is Jack here warming up for his first set of 3. So what's important as well is you'll see Jack there, he's kind of getting in the zone a little bit. You can see he's thinking about a few things. He's going through how he's going to be unracking the bar, how he's going to be going through the set, and making sure he's gone through that whole process in his head a couple of times before he then approaches the bar and does it. Again, probably having a little think about it again now. And then once he unracks, it's good to go and he's straight into the set. So like I said, this is Jack's first heavy set of 3. Jack wasn't sure how to approach the session because he wasn't sure, for the last couple of weeks of not being able to get too many squats in, he wasn't sure how he would be able to form. Now Jack back squats 210 for a max. So 170 for a 3 isn't breaking records for Jack. I think he's actually done a 205 for 3. But just by simply for Jack knowing how his body's feeling, he can adjust his expectations out of the session to make sure that when he does do a heavy session, he's always gaining confidence and always building momentum. Now for me, I've had a few good squat sessions on my belt before this session, so I knew that 180 was a realistic target to go for. So 180 was what I was banking on being my heaviest set of 3, and it'll be actually my first set of 3 as well. There's the first, I think one of the reps, I think it's the second rep, catches me a little bit, as you'll see. So a little shake there, but corrected well on the 3rd rep, and actually the 3rd rep felt better than the 2nd rep, so I made the decision to go to 185, and just knowing that any reps that I get there are a bonus because I've got my goal, I've got the 180. Jack has dropped down now to 160, and he's going to finish off his session with 2 sets at 160, and then he's got his 3 heavy sets of back squats completed, and that was the goal of the session. Build to a heavy 3 with 2 drop sets, so 3 heavy sets in total. So Jack's coming off the back of this session, not broke records, but he's building momentum, building confidence to go into his next squat session. Okay, I go into a 185 attempt, and you'll see here I complete 2 reps. Potentially could have squeezed the 3rd rep, but I just wanted to make sure I wasn't finishing with the bar on the floor. Bar was back in the rack, and then I could finish off, and I actually finished off with a set at 160, as you'll see here, to also complete my 3 heavy sets of 3.